The council chamber of the Galactic Union was never silent. It was always full of voices, full of arguments, full of lights and reports moving in the air. But today everything was different. Today the chamber was quiet. Dangerously quiet. In the center of the massive room stood one human, Commander Reyes, dressed in a dark uniform marked with the symbol of Earth. He stood alone on a round metal platform, bright lights above him making him look smaller than he truly was. All around him, hundreds of alien leaders sat in curved rows that reached high up into the shadows. Each alien leader represented a world, a species, a power greater than anything Earth had ever known. Every single one of them was staring at him. Some stared with anger. Some stared with fear. And some stared as if they were looking at a monster. Reyes did not move. His face was calm, but his eyes showed he understood the danger he was in. He knew one mistake, one wrong word could decide Earth's future. At the front row sat the High Council, a group of 7 powerful beings. In the middle was Counselor Thelon, a tall figure with blue crystal skin that glowed from inside. He lifted a long silver tablet and began to read. Commander Reyes of Earth, Thelon said, his voice echoing through the huge chamber, you stand here under accusation of a great crime. The report says your people crossed into restricted star systems. Your forces destroyed 2 patrol ships. And your fleet was seen moving toward Union territory. Whispers exploded across the chamber. Humans attacked again? Earth is a danger. They want war. They spread too fast. Reyes heard everything but said nothing. Counselor Thelon continued, his glowing eyes fixed on the human. Before we decide your punishment we must ask you one question. And you must answer truthfully. The whole chamber leaned forward. Thelon's voice dropped, echoing like thunder. Did you really invade Earth? The moment the question hit the air, the entire room fell silent. Even the machines stopped. Even the lights seemed to dim. Reyes did not answer at once. He stood still, hands behind his back, staring at the floor. It looked like he was thinking about something heavy, something he could not explain easily. Some council members grew impatient. A red-scaled alien slammed his hand on the table. Answer the question, human. Why did your ships enter restricted space? A silver, insect-like alien hissed. Tell us why Earth is preparing for war. A creature with 6 glowing eyes leaned forward. Is Earth planning to fight the Union? Reyes slowly lifted his head. His expression was unreadable. Not angry. Not afraid. Not proud. Something different, something the aliens could not understand. All eyes locked on him. Still he said nothing. Then, without warning, a giant hologram burst to life above the chamber, an image of space filled with burning ships and explosions. Red alarms flashed across the hologram. A large symbol marked a location. The aliens gasped. The hologram showed human ships chasing unknown vessels. It showed Earth's orbit in flames. It showed cities under attack from the sky. It showed desperate messages, broken signals, emergency lights. Counselor Thelon's calm voice cracked for the first time. Explain this, Commander Reyes. Reyes looked up at the hologram, then back at the council. He finally spoke, his voice low but steady. Those images are real. The chamber shook with angry voices. You admit your crime. Earth caused this war. Humans cannot be trusted. Reyes raised one hand. The entire room froze. Something in his eyes made even the angriest alien stop speaking. He spoke again, slowly, clearly, each word heavy with meaning. Earth never attacked first. The chamber went silent once more. Reyes stepped forward on the platform. His voice grew stronger. We were not invading. We were not preparing for war. We were running. The aliens looked confused. Running? From who? What enemy? Why would Earth run? Reyes breathed in deeply as if preparing to reveal a truth too big for the room. He looked directly at the High Council and said, the ships you saw, the patrols we destroyed, the borders we crossed, the worlds we entered, none of it was an invasion. The air felt heavy, almost too heavy to breathe. Reyes continued, his voice cold. Because Earth was never the attacker. He paused. Every alien leaned forward. The lights flickered as if the chamber itself waited for the truth. Reyes finished. Earth was the target. The room exploded into chaos. Shouts. Fear. Confusion. Some aliens stood. Others backed away. The High Council looked frozen, unable to speak. But Reyes remained calm. He stood in the center of the storm, watching them panic. And in that moment, one terrifying thought passed through the minds of every alien in the chamber. If someone was powerful enough to attack Earth, that enemy might come for them next. The chamber was still shaking with noise when Counselor Thalan struck his staff on the floor. A sharp, ringing sound filled the air, and slowly the voices began to die down. One by one the alien leaders returned to their seats, though many still looked shaken. Commander Reyes stood silently on the platform, watching the council members with calm eyes. He knew what was coming next. He knew the accusations would not stop here. Thalan's glowing crystal body dimmed and brightened as he spoke. Commander Reyes, your words make a heavy claim. You say Earth was attacked. You say you crossed our borders not to fight us but to escape a danger. He leaned forward, voice sharp like a blade. But the Union does not accept excuses. We deal in truth and proof. Now you will answer our questions. Reyes nodded once without fear. A new hologram lit up above the chamber, this one showing a map of Union space and Earth's position on the edge of it. Red lines showed where human ships had crossed into restricted zones. A thin, green-skinned alien with long fingers pointed at the hologram. This is the first violation, she said. Your ships entered the Cora Passage, a protected area. Why? Reyes did not hesitate. To save civilians from an unknown enemy. The council erupted again, but Thalan raised a hand, forcing silence. Another alien, large and covered in thick fur, slammed his fist on his desk. And what of this? He growled. He pulled up an image of 2 destroyed patrol ships. These ships were Union vessels. They were defending our space. Yet your fleet destroyed them. Reyes looked at the image and his face remained calm. They fired on us first. The furry alien snarled. Because you crossed the border. Reyes replied softly. We crossed to escape the attack on Earth. Different council members exchanged confused glances. Some were angry, some doubtful, some simply afraid. None of them understood the full truth yet. A metallic, insect-like counselor with wings made of silver wires leaned forward. Your story is not clear, human. Earth was attacked, you say? But by who? And why did you not send a message to the Union before entering our space? Reyes's jaw tightened slightly. We did send a message. Then where is it? The insect alien hissed. There is no record. Reyes slowly shook his head. The message never reached you. A cold wave went across the room. The idea that someone could block communication between worlds was terrifying. Counselor Thalan tapped his silver tablet. The Union has powerful scanners, Commander. We detect enemy ships. We protect planets in danger. Yet we saw nothing near Earth. No signs of war. No hostile fleets. He stared at Reyes, crystal eyes glowing brighter. So tell us, how can an enemy strong enough to attack your world hide from us? Reyes finally looked troubled. Not afraid, troubled. He answered quietly. Because they are not like other enemies. Several council members leaned forward, curiosity replacing anger. Reyes continued. They do not use normal engines. They do not send normal signals. They move like shadows, without light, without trace. Even our sensors barely saw them. The chamber darkened slightly as his words settled into the minds of the alien leaders. A thin, bird-like alien shook his head. This makes no sense. No enemy could bypass both human and Union sensors. Reyes looked at him. This one did. Thalan spoke again, slower this time. Commander Reyes, you stand accused of violation of space law, destruction of Union property, and reckless movement through our territory. These are serious crimes. Reyes responded with a steady voice. I understand. Do you deny the accusations? Thalan asked. Reyes lifted his head proudly. I do not deny the actions. But I deny the intention. The chamber fell silent again. Reyes continued. Yes, we crossed borders. Yes, we entered restricted space. Yes, we fought your patrol ships. But not to invade. Not to expand. Not to challenge the Union. He pointed at the hologram of Earth burning. We did all of it to save lives. A new hologram appeared, this time showing a large group of human ships moving in formation, carrying damaged vessels behind them. These, Reyes said pointing, were not warships. These were evacuation ships carrying civilians, families, children. We moved them through the Cora Passage because it was the fastest route to safety. The Council's anger began to shift. Some aliens lowered their heads. Others whispered to themselves. A purple-skinned alien with 4 arms spoke softly. If what you say is true, then Earth suffered a great disaster. Reyes nodded once. Yes. And the attack came without warning. Thalan leaned back, still unsure. You claim Earth was the victim. Yet all we have is your word. Reyes looked straight into Thalan's glowing crystal eyes. Then he said something that made the entire council freeze. You have more than my word. He slowly placed a small device on the platform. A soft blue light came from it. "This," Reyes said, "is a recording from the first hour of the attack." The chamber went completely still. Every alien watched with wide eyes. Reyes spoke one last sentence. "If you truly want the truth, then prepare yourselves. What you are about to see will change everything." And the recording began to activate. The blue light from the device grew brighter, filling the entire council chamber with a soft glow. All the alien leaders leaned forward. No one spoke. No one moved. Even the floating drones that recorded the meeting stopped in the air as if they too wanted to see the truth. Commander Reyes stepped back, allowing the hologram to expand above him. With a soft hum, the recording activated. At first, the image was peaceful. Earth's orbit, blue oceans shining below, ships moving calmly between stations. The council watched, some confused. There was no sign of war. Then it happened. A dark shadow slipped into the frame. Small at first. Almost invisible. A shape with no clear form, like smoke drifting through space. No engines. No lights. No heat. No signature. Something that should not exist. Reyes raised his voice slightly so all could hear. "This was the first one we detected. We thought it was debris. Something harmless." The shadow suddenly stretched like a living creature. It wrapped around a human patrol ship. The ship shook once, then broke apart in silence. Gasps filled the chamber. On the hologram, more shadows appeared, dozens, then hundreds. All drifting quietly toward Earth. Like a storm of black fog. Counselor Thalan stared in shock. "What are these things?" Reyes answered calmly. "We call them the Null Swarm." The image changed again. Earth's orbit became chaos. Human ships fired desperately, but their weapons passed through the shadows like light through smoke. The Null Swarm flowed around the attacks, bending, twisting, reforming. One alien leader covered their glowing eyes. "This is impossible. No physical enemy can ignore energy weapons." Reyes nodded grimly. "We learned the same lesson, too late." The hologram zoomed in on the swarm. Hidden inside the shadows were shapes, hard to see, like metallic bones wrapped in darkness. Not ships. Not life. Something between machine and ghost. Reyes explained. "They are not alive. But they are not machines either. They learn. They adapt. They change shape. They hide inside sensor blind spots." A council member whispered, voice shaking. "They are invisible to scanners." Another added, "And they move silently." A third said what everyone feared. "Then how can anyone fight them?" Reyes looked straight ahead. With great difficulty. The recording showed human fleets falling back toward Earth. Large troop carriers and evacuation ships filled the screen trying to escape. Some were already damaged. Others exploded as the swarm passed through them. Children crying. Cities burning. Signals breaking. The council members watched in horror. One alien's voice cracked. "So Earth truly was attacked without warning." "Yes," Reyes said. A heavy silence fell. The hologram changed again, showing the final moments before humans crossed the Union border. Human ships moved at maximum speed, carrying civilians, injured soldiers, and survivors. Behind them, the Null Swarm grew larger, as if it consumed everything in its path. Thalan finally spoke, voice low. "And this enemy, it follows you?" Reyes shook his head slowly. "No. It follows energy. It follows life. It follows anything it can consume." He pointed at the hologram. "This swarm did not chase us because we were humans. It chased us because we were alive." The meaning hit the chamber like a shockwave. Council members looked at each other with fear. If this thing finds the Union, it would attack us too. It could destroy entire worlds. Reyes raised the small device again. "There is more." The hologram changed once more. This time it showed a secret human research station, deep in a dark part of space. Human scientists studied a small piece of the Null Swarm trapped inside a force field. The trapped shadow twisted angrily, crashing against the barrier again and again. Reyes explained. "This recording was taken one day before Earth was attacked. Our scientists were studying the swarm fragment. They believed it came from a dead star system outside known space." The hologram zoomed in. Suddenly, the fragment inside the containment chamber pulsed, like a heartbeat. It sent out a wave. Every machine in the lab exploded. Lights died. The room went dark. The fragment vanished from the chamber. Reyes continued. "We did not realize it then, but the swarm was sending a signal. A call to the larger hive." The hologram showed the Null Swarm arriving at Earth shortly after. A council member trembled. "You mean Earth was attacked because of a mistake. Reyes nodded, face tense. Yes, a human mistake. A wave of anger rose. That makes this your fault. You brought this thing to your world. You endangered the Union. But Reyes did not defend himself. He simply said, "We accept responsibility. But blame will not help you now." Delon narrowed his glowing eyes. "What do you mean?" Reyes looked around the chamber, voice growing dark and heavy. "The swarm does not stop. It keeps moving. It does not lose targets. If one piece escaped Earth before we fled," he paused, "it will follow the path of our retreat." Several council members gasped. A heavy silence took over. Delon whispered, almost afraid to ask, "Commander Reyes, are you saying the swarm may already be close to Union space?" Reyes answered without hesitation. "Yes, and it may already be coming here." The entire chamber erupted into panic. And the council finally understood. Earth's problem was now everyone's problem. Chaos filled the Galactic Council chamber. Alien leaders spoke over one another, voices rising with fear and anger. The idea that the null swarm might already be moving toward Union space was too terrifying for many to accept. Commander Reyes watched silently from the center platform. He did not look proud. He did not look scared. He simply waited. He knew what was coming next. Counselor Delon struck his glowing staff again, the sharp sound cutting the noise like a blade. Slowly the chamber fell quiet. Delon stared at Reyes with glowing crystal eyes. "Commander Reyes, what you have shown us is disturbing. But many questions remain unanswered. Many things do not make sense." A tall, red-scaled alien rose from his seat. His armor clicked as he moved. "I still do not trust this human," he said loudly. "You show us a recording, yes, but how do we know it is real? Humans can create illusions. Humans can lie. Humans can exaggerate." Others nodded. Some whispered. Some glared at Reyes. Another alien stood, thin, silver hair flowing like water. "Our scanners detected nothing. Our patrols saw nothing. No traces of this null swarm. For all we know, Earth created this monster themselves." An insect-like counselor hissed sharply. "Or perhaps, Earth released it on purpose." Reyes raised an eyebrow. "You think we would attack our own world?" "You may have lost control," the insect alien replied. "Or maybe your leaders did. Maybe they tried to create a new weapon. Something desperate. Something dangerous." Reyes clenched his jaw but remained calm. "We would never build something that kills without reason." But the doubt in the council grew thicker. A bird-like alien tapped her sharp claws on the desk. "You said your scientists found a fragment of the swarm. That is already suspicious. How did humans get close to something that cannot be detected?" Reyes answered firmly. "We found it drifting near a dead system. No stars. No planets. Only ruins." Many aliens exchanged looks. Ruins were never a good sign. Especially ruins of unknown origin. Still, some council members remained unconvinced. A large, fur-covered counselor growled. "You claim these shadows destroyed your world. But Earth is small, weak, inexperienced. Why would such a powerful enemy attack you first?" Reyes did not look insulted. "Because we were the first to touch it," he replied. "And because the swarm does not care who you are. It responds to life. It responds to energy. It consumes everything." The furry alien did not back down. "And yet, Commander, after such destruction you survived. Convenient." Reyes stepped forward. "We survived because we ran. Not because we were strong." The council chamber grew quiet again. Then slowly Delon spoke. "Commander Reyes, understand our concern. The Union has existed for thousands of years. We have seen many threats. But nothing like this. Nothing invisible. Nothing without form." He paused. "And nothing that only one species has witnessed." Reyes understood what that meant. They did not trust him. They did not trust Earth. Another counselor spoke, short, green-skinned with large silver eyes. "Your story may be a trick. Maybe the swarm is real, but maybe Earth wants us to believe it is bigger than it is. Maybe your people want protection, sympathy, or military support." Reyes frowned. "Do you think we want charity?" "Yes," the green alien said coldly. "Because your world might already be doomed." At this insult, a few humans would have exploded in anger. But Reyes did not. He breathed slowly, controlling his voice. "We came to warn you. Not to beg you." But still, doubt spread across the chamber like smoke. The insect-like counselor leaned forward again. "Your evidence is incomplete. Your scanners failed. Your messages were blocked." Everything you tell us depends on your word. And humans have lied before. Reyes finally allowed emotion into his voice. Do you think I want to stand here? In front of hundreds of worlds? Accused of crimes I did not commit? The chamber stayed silent. Reyes continued, voice sharper now. I came here because Earth is dying. Because our people are running. Because we are out of time. A four-armed purple alien raised his hand. But why should we trust you? You could be leading this swarm toward us. Bringing your danger to our gates. Reyes stepped closer to the edge of the platform. He looked at every pair of alien eyes around the chamber. You want to know if I am lying? He said quietly. Then answer this question. If the swarm is not real, then where do you think our missing ships went? That question struck the chamber like a shockwave. The aliens paused. They had seen the hologram of destroyed ships. They had heard the emergency signals. They had watched Earth burning. Some council members now looked uneasy. A bird-like alien whispered, "Thousands of humans are gone." Another replied, "Entire cities vanished." Another said, "No one fakes that." But the doubts did not end. Delon finally spoke again. "We have only one way to know the truth. We must send our own scouts. Our own ships. Our own eyes. Only then will we know if this null swarm exists." Reyes exhaled slowly. "You can send your scouts. But if they go alone, they will not return." The chamber filled with nervous whispers. Delon ignored them. "For now, Commander Reyes, we cannot trust your story fully. The Union must protect its worlds. Until we have proof, you will remain under watch." Reyes nodded stiffly. His eyes showed frustration, anger, and exhaustion. But more than anything, they showed fear. Not fear of the Council. Fear of the enemy coming for all of them. As the guards approached to escort him away, Reyes said one last thing. "You can doubt me. You can insult Earth. You can hold me here. But nothing you do will stop the swarm." He looked at the Council one final time. "And when it reaches your worlds, you will wish you listened." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, even the bravest alien leaders felt a chill. Because deep inside, beneath the doubt, they knew Reyes might be telling the truth. The Galactic Council chamber was still filled with low whispers when Commander Reyes was escorted toward the side exit. Two tall guards, metal-skinned androids, walked beside him, their glowing eyes watching his every move. Reyes did not resist. He simply walked quietly, thinking of Earth, thinking of the swarm, thinking of what would happen next. Behind him, the Council continued arguing. This human lies. No, his evidence looked real. The null swarm cannot exist. But what if it does? Councillor Delon raised his staff again. Enough. We will investigate. Until then, no decision will be made. He did not know he had almost no time left. Just as Reyes reached the exit, a deep rumble shook the entire chamber. A loud alarm blared. Red lights flashed across the ceiling. Drones began spinning wildly overhead. Every alien froze. Every voice died instantly. Reyes turned around slowly. He knew this sound. A metal speaker near the ceiling activated and a panicked voice shouted, "Emergency alert. Unknown objects entering orbit. They are not responding to signals. They are not showing on long-range scanners. They just appeared." The voice cracked with fear. A second alarm echoed even louder. The Council chamber's huge holographic map switched to a live view of the planet's orbit. At first, the picture looked normal. Ships, satellites, stations floating calmly above the world. Then the image flickered. And something dark began to appear. Not one thing. Not two. Hundreds. Shadowy shapes slipping out of nothingness. Black movements stretching like smoke. Silent. Cold. Wrong. Councillor Delon stood from his seat in shock. "What is this?" Reyes spoke quietly from the side of the room. "The null swarm." Panic exploded. Some aliens shouted. Some ran toward exits. Others stared in horror at the hologram. The swarm moved like a dark cloud through space. Shapes inside it twisted, long, sharp, metallic forms covered in shadow. No engines. No lights. No signals. Just like in the recording from Earth. A deep voice from the planet's main defense station came through the speakers. Union defense fleet preparing weapons. Locking targets. Firing. Beams of energy shot from orbital cannons. The blast hit the swarm. And went straight through. The entire council watched the hologram with wide eyes as the swarm kept moving, untouched, unharmed, unstoppable. One alien whispered, "No, no, this cannot be real." Another cried out, "Our weapons did nothing." The null swarm finally reacted. It spread out like wings. then dived toward the orbiting defense ships. One ship fired missiles. Another activated shields. Another tried to run. It did not matter. The swarm passed through them like fog. And a second later, each ship tore apart from the inside. Silently, violently, instantly. Metal fragments floated into space. Flames blew out through cracks in the hulls. Gasps filled the council chamber. Reyes spoke louder now. I told you. They adapt. Weapons do not work. Thalen's voice shook. Why are they here? How did they find us? Reyes answered. They followed the trail of our retreat. And now they have reached you. The hologram zoomed in. The swarm was descending toward the planet's atmosphere. A new voice shouted through comms. They're breaking through our shields. The main grid is failing. We cannot. The signal cut out. The room erupted into chaos. Guards ran. Council members shouted orders. Some collapsed from fear. Reyes moved forward, no longer calm. You must evacuate this chamber. You must move your fleets. You must. He stopped. Through the hologram he saw something terrifying. The swarm split into two parts. One stayed in orbit, destroying defense structures. The other was heading straight toward the ground. Straight toward them. Commander Reyes pointed. They're coming to the surface. The chamber shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. A blue-skinned counselor screamed. They're already entering the atmosphere. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the entire building. Windows shattered. Stone pillars cracked. Large sections of the ceiling broke loose. The guards grabbed Reyes, pulling him back. Fire alarms activated, spraying thick white smoke. Outside the chamber walls, deep rumbling sounds echoed, like giant claws dragging across metal. The swarm had reached the city. Something slammed into the building's outer walls, a heavy, crushing impact that sent shockwaves through the floor. Cracks crawled across the marble tiles. Counselor Thalan shouted. Everyone to the safe tunnels. Move now. Commander Reyes yelled back. Safe tunnels will not stop the swarm. Thalan hesitated. For the first time he looked completely unsure. The chamber doors burst open. Guards rushed in, weapons drawn, but they froze when they saw the hallway behind them. A flood of black shadows crawled across the walls and floor, moving like liquid darkness. Tiny glowing points of light, like eyes, blinked inside the shapes. Reyes shouted. Don't touch them. Don't let them touch you. It was too late. One guard fired. Light passed straight through the shadow. The swarm fragment twisted around him, and the guard vanished into a spray of sparks. The council screamed. Thalen's voice broke. Commander Reyes, what do we do? Reyes looked at the council, at the falling ceiling, at the approaching darkness. He took a deep breath. We run. And we survive. Just like Earth tried to do. And the final explosion tore the chamber apart. The null swarm had arrived. The council chamber was gone. Only smoke, broken stone, and twisted metal remained. Commander Reyes pulled himself out from under a fallen support beam, coughing hard as dust filled the air. Flames spread across the ruins. Alarms wailed in the distance. Most of the council had escaped through the emergency tunnels. But not fast enough. The null swarm had entered the building. Reyes climbed to his feet, his uniform torn and covered in ash. He heard distant screams, echoing through the corridors beneath him. He whispered to himself, not again, not on another world. A sudden crackle of static came from the comm unit on his wrist. Reyes froze. Was that? No, it couldn't be. He lifted his arm. The tiny screen flickered, then stabilized. A voice came through. A voice he knew. Reyes, this is Admiral Hale of the Terran Remnant Fleet. We are inbound. Reyes' eyes widened. Admiral? I thought the swarm destroyed your group. Another voice cut in, sharp, focused. Captain Ishido. Not all of us. We hid in the Kuiper shadows until our engines were repaired. We tracked the swarm trail, and it led here. Reyes let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. You came. You actually came. Hale's voice hardened. Of course we did. No human gets left behind. Hold your position, Commander. We're making our entrance. The communication cut off. The ground trembled again as the null swarm shadows twisted through the ruins, creeping closer. Their shapes flickered like broken holograms, edges sharp, bodies shifting. Reyes stepped backward. He could not outrun them. Then, the sky roared. A deafening boom echoed through the atmosphere, like thunder tearing open the world. Reyes looked up through the hole in the ceiling just as clouds burst apart. A massive shape dropped from orbit. It was bright. It was loud. It was unmistakably human. A Terran warship, scarred, patched, and glowing red-hot from an emergency descent, tore through the air like a falling meteor. The ship slammed into the swarm cluster above the city with a shockwave so powerful it blew the shadows backward. Black fragments scattered like shredded smoke. The entire ground shook. And from the burning sky, dozens more ships followed. The Terran remnant fleet had arrived. Small fighter craft screamed through the clouds, engines burning white. Heavy cruisers emerged from low orbit, firing kinetic rounds that cracked the air like artillery. The city's sky turned bright with human firepower. Reyes whispered in awe. They came with everything, even though we have almost nothing left. Behind him, Counselor Thalan and a group of survivors emerged from the rubble, staring up with wide eyes. One alien gasped. Those ships, the humans, they are attacking the swarm. Another said, they are not running? They are not hiding? Thalan could only whisper, they are fighting for us. Reyes helped the counselors toward the open plaza where the air was clearer. Above them, human fighters weaved through the sky, drawing the swarm's attention. Bright streaks shot past, trails from railgun rounds tearing into shadow shapes. The rounds passed through the swarm. But this time, the swarm reacted violently. Hale's voice came through the comms again. Reyes, good news. Kinetic impacts disrupt their cohesion. Doesn't destroy them but slows them. Reyes smiled grimly. Then hit them harder. Hale laughed. You know us. A human frigate dove low over the city rooftops, so close its engines sent debris flying. Its underside opened, revealing a launcher loaded with dense metal rods. The frigate fired them like spears. The rods smashed into the swarm group ahead, creating shockwaves that tore the shadows apart for several seconds, buying just enough time for the fighters to regroup. One alien counselor cried out, how are humans doing this? Their technology is weaker than ours. Reyes answered without looking away from the sky. Because humans don't fight like you. We don't wait. We don't debate. We don't surrender. When the enemy comes, we hit back, hard. The ground shook again as another human cruiser descended, engines screaming. But then, a massive ripple moved through the swarm. The shadows pulled together, forming a single enormous shape above the city. Its core glowed sickly white like a cold sun. The air around it warped. Counselor Thalan trembled. Is that a swarm high form? Reyes nodded slowly. Yes, they're adapting. The giant swarm form unleashed a wave of energy that swept across the city. Human fighters caught in the wave flickered, then vanished, swallowed. The Terran fleet recoiled. Admiral Hale's voice came through, hard and urgent. All units fall back. That thing is changing the rules. Reyes shouted into his comm. Hale? You can't retreat, the city will fall. Hale responded sharply. We're not retreating. We're regrouping. We expected this. Reyes, it's time for the plan. Reyes stiffened. You mean? Yes. Project Gungnir. Activate it. The counselors looked at Reyes in confusion and fear. Thalan asked, What is Project Gungnir? Reyes turned to the alien leader. It's something we built after losing Earth. Something desperate. Something dangerous. The ground rumbled again as the high form descended lower, shadows spilling off its sides like boiling tar. Reyes stared up at it. It's our last chance. The giant high form drifted lower, spreading darkness across the broken city. Its massive shadow swallowed light and hope. The air grew cold. The ground trembled like the world itself was afraid. Commander Reyes stood firm, even as dust and broken stone fell around him. Behind him, Counselor Thalan asked again, his voice shaking. Commander, what is Project Gungnir? Reyes didn't answer right away. He was watching the sky, waiting. Finally, he spoke calmly, almost quietly. Gungnir is not a ship. Not a bomb. Not a weapon the Council could ever approve. He turned to face the alien leaders. It is something only humans would build. Because only humans were desperate enough. The counselors exchanged nervous looks. Suddenly, the comm unit on Reyes' wrist buzzed. Admiral Hale's voice crackled through. Reyes, Gungnir is in position. We need coordinates. You have 30 seconds. Reyes raised his head. His eyes locked onto the high form drifting over the city. It's right above us. Targeting data uploading now. A soft beep confirmed the transmission. The aliens watched him, confused and scared. Thalan stepped closer. Commander, what will Gungnir do? Reyes stared at the massive swarm creature above them, growing brighter, stronger, more deadly every second. It will end this fight. He did not say how. Because saying it aloud made it too real. The sky splits open. A loud hum spread across the sky. Even the swarm paused. Everyone, humans, aliens, even the swirling shadow monsters, looked up. Far above the atmosphere, beyond clouds and fire, something enormous appeared. A long metallic shape, like a spear the size of a skyscraper, glowed bright gold. Reyes whispered, "Gungnir." The aliens gasped. "What is that? Is it a weapon? Is it alive? Is it falling?" Reyes nodded. "It's falling. And fast." From orbit, Gungnir ignited. A massive beam of blue-white energy surrounded it, turning it into a burning spear of light. Gungnir was not fired. It was dropped. A kinetic rod, forged in secret, hidden for years, waiting for one moment. The counselors were horrified. Dalan shouted, "You cannot drop such a weapon on our capital city. It will destroy everything." But Reyes shook his head. "It's not aimed at your city." He pointed at the hive form. "It's aimed at that." The hive form sensed danger. It shrieked, a horrible metallic echo that shook the air. The shadows around it writhed like frightened animals. The creature began to charge its energy again, preparing a massive attack. But Gungnir was already falling too fast. The final seconds. Admiral Hale's voice echoed through the comm. "All units pull back. Impact in 10, 9, 8. Reyes grabbed Thalen's arm. "Get behind cover. Now." The alien leader didn't argue. He and the counselors ran behind a broken wall as Reyes pushed others away from the blast zone. 7, 6. The sky grew brighter. 5, 4. The swarm screeched. 3. Gungnir hit the upper atmosphere. Fire surrounded it. 2. The ground shook like thunder. 1. Impact. The world flashed white. A sound like the sky exploding tore through the air. A shockwave rolled across the entire city, shattering windows, throwing dust and flattening weak structures. A bright spear of burning metal slammed straight into the hive form. The creature didn't scream. It collapsed, like a mountain of smoke suddenly crushed by a star. The entire swarm froze. Then it broke apart all at once, shadows shattering into dust. A second shockwave hit, this time quieter, like the world releasing a long breath. When the light faded, the hive form was gone, and so was half the mountain outside the city. Gungnir had done its work. Silence after the storm. For a long moment no one spoke. No human. No alien. No surviving council member. Reyes slowly stood, dust falling from his torn uniform. Dalan approached him, eyes wide, voice trembling. "Commander, humanity built that? That impossible weapon?" Reyes nodded once. "We built it after Earth fell. We swore never to be helpless again." Dalan swallowed hard. Why did you use such a weapon to save us?" Reyes looked up at the sky where the swarm had vanished. "Because Earth would have wanted it. Because we know what it's like to lose everything. And because we don't abandon allies." The alien stared at him, shocked, humbled, almost ashamed. Finally, Dalan bowed his head. "Humanity, we misjudged you. We thought you were dangerous. We thought you invaded. But it is clear now." He looked at Reyes with respect. "You never came to conquer us. You came to warn us." Reyes nodded softly. "And to fight beside you. A new future begins." The Terran remnant fleet slowly descended through the clouds, their ships damaged but still flying. The council city burned, but it still stood. Humanity had saved it. Dalan stepped forward and placed his hand on Reyes' shoulder. "Commander, humanity will have a place in the Galactic Council. You have earned it." Reyes gave a faint smile. "Then let's rebuild. Together." In the sky above them, the human fleet circled like guardians. For the first time in